welcome to Style Thoughts by Rita, where today I'm talking about the dramatic image identity, the regal lady. And in this video, I'm going to go through the description of the dramatic woman from the Metamorphosis. I'm going to talk a bit about the dramatic essence. I'm going to show you lots of pictures of dramatic celebrities. And then I'm going to talk about different types of dramatic styling. Yeah, as usual, I just want to note that I'm just like learning about the image ideas, so maybe you disagree with me about some things here. And also, if you want to see some dramatic women in action, I really recommend the Strictly Kibbe Facebook group. I'm quite excited about this video because I feel like dramatic is kind of a controversial image idea in the sense that there are some people who really feel like it's some sort of PC thing to say, that dramatic women, they basically just have like a very like masculine look, and anybody who disagrees with that is just being like weirdly PC. And so that's why, like, for example, Taylor Swift like can't be a dramatic because she has such a feminine or cute vibe. And I really hope that you can see in this video that just dramatic women are very womanly in many ways. Okay, so the dramatic woman, basically physically, she is the pure sharp yang. She's on the opposite end of the scale from the romantic, who is the pure yin. And she has this striking and powerful essence. She is described as being moderate to tall, so usually over 5 feet 5 inches, but in some cases shorter than that, including the celebrity examples. She has an angular bone structure with sharp edges, and she usually quite square, narrow shoulders. And that generally, her bone structure tends to be quite narrow, which maybe gives like a delicate impression. Her body shape is described as straight and angular. She perhaps has long and sleek musculature. She usually has long limbs. She usually has long, narrow hands and feet. So basically, in David's system, yang is kind of the straight, narrow line. So this straight, narrow line is present throughout her body. And her facial features are that she has a sharp or prominent bone structure in her jaw, her nose, and her cheekbones. She has straight and sleek lines in her face, maybe narrow almond eyes, or narrow and thin lips. So what does this look like? Here are some examples of dramatic celebrities, and here you can see this presence of this straight lines in their face, for example, in their noses, in their eyes, their lips. So here's some more dramatic women, and I really wanted to include many different examples. So I've used all of the Kibbe-verified dramatic celebrities in this video because I really want to show the full range of what the dramatic woman can look like, so you can see that there are many very different ways that this pure yang can be embodied. It's not the case that all of them have a very narrow face, for example, or a very like prominent jawline, or there's like a variation in the size of their eyes, their nose, their lips, and so on. But these women do clearly share this yang bone structure and facial features, so you can see the similarity even at the same time as we acknowledge that there's a lot of variety in the way dramatic women look. Okay, and now we look at their figures. So here you can see there's just like this elongation, these longer limbs, but Louise Brooks on the left, she's not as like strikingly tall as the others, but still you see this kind of like long straight lines. And again, it's also fun to see with this like posing to really emphasize their longer bodies. At the same time, as I talked about in my Taylor Swift video, it's not the case that dramatics, all uniformly have no curve in their body, because we're all women and there's just like variation, but at the same time they do have generally straight body build. You can see that here on these celebrities also. Just the like dominant visual from their body is this long vertical line, and they are very narrow. That's the yang. just some more pictures so you can get, again, like some ideas of the scope of variety in terms of, you know, how long or how narrow or how curvy dramatic celebrities can look. Some more contemporary celebrities. And I know that sometimes women who are not at this like kind of very thin Hollywood weight maybe struggle to understand if they're dramatic or not. I think you can look at quite a lot of the dramatic celebrities at older ages, or in Kira's case, after she, very recently after she has a baby, you can just see them in a fuller figure. You can still see that they do retain this kind of like sharpness even at a higher weight, and this kind of more linear body type even while they have like some basic curvature. Okay, and I just want to say, you know, Lena Horne, she's a extra cool dramatic celebrity. It seems very relevant for today. She is not only a very cool regal lady, but she was a musician, performer, and a civil rights activist. So now I just want to talk about the dramatic essence. So Kibbe describes her as the regal lady. He says she's a woman of majesty and mystery, a striking and imposing figure capable of inspiring awe by merely entering a room. And I think that sometimes dramatic women maybe feel like this is quite a lot to live up to, but I think that's kind of the thing for a lot of the image ideas. So I do think that there is something about this, like this narrow, delicate, and the length. I think that I definitely get this impression of power from the dramatic women who I have known. But obviously there are tons of different ways to actually express that, as in your own personal style. What does it mean for you to be the regal lady? So I've prepared a lot of examples of dramatic styling, and I've done this a bit differently than I've done in my previous videos because I just noticed some different types of trends that dramatic celebrities like to wear, and I thought it'd be fun to show them. So this is really not meant to be like a limit on like what dramatic women can wear, but I just wanted to show a bit of like diversity. Because I think that, again, when we look on the internet ideas of the dramatic, it's like, well, you should be wearing basically like sheath dresses with very minimal details, or you should be wearing like a suit. So I think like it just doesn't seem very fun, and it also, from this kind of stereotypical idea of the dramatic, doesn't seem like it's really possible to be a dramatic in every occasion. So okay, the obvious like first thing for the dramatics is the straight and sleek, and sleek is a word that Kibbe uses a lot when he talks about the dramatic woman, because it's really, she should be like working with her narrow build. So in practice, this means kind of just these longer column types of dressing. Here I just showed some like kind of plain outfits in kind of conservative colors so you can see the idea. But this also, the same thing can be much more fun with these kinds of like skirts, with different kinds of patterns or textures or fabrics. It's not like these different embellishments that in these outfits take away from the long narrow vertical line. The main impression of this outfit is still this like straight and sleek. Also like this edgy thing, the dramatics seem to like that. You can get some like ripped jeans or, you know, the bomber jacket. Again, creating this like sleek and straight silhouette. And then I think these gowns are really fun to show off their shape. You can see again this long, narrow, straight line, even though they're also showing off the curves that they have to the different extent that they have them. And sleek and straight doesn't have to mean completely devoid of decoration, by the way. So I think I've already talked about that having these kinds of like details on the outfits doesn't take away. But I think I especially noticed this like dropped waist style is very cool. And I think it's like probably gonna come back in, because I feel like it hasn't been like as big of a trend for a while, but it's like, it feels like a silhouette that could become much more widespread. Then, of course, the option for dramatic women is this like menswear or tailored kind of look. And I think that I understand why people maybe have like a bit of a negative reaction. It's like, oh, okay, so you're saying I have a straight body type and I should wear like a suit because, you know, I'm a man. And obviously nobody's like forcing anybody to wear a suit or tailored details. But I think it's like the play I mean, it is like an expression of your femininity to wear kind of like sharper tailored outfits, and definitely none of the dramatic celebrities look like men. And Katharine Hepburn, who was really famous with her use of the suits, I mean, there was nothing masculine about the roles that she portrayed. So I think that this was like fun. You have a lot of different types of suits. Again, you know, embellishments, these stripes or these textures, or, you know, this the hems of the jackets have like interesting shapes. So there's so much like variety to play with. And you can see this like highlighting this narrow, long vertical line. And in a non-suit, just like these kinds of like a bit of like tailored trousers or sharper, you know, cuffs, collars, lapels, these kinds of details. I just think it looks really cool. Just some more examples of kind of like this crisply fitted bit of like sharp edges looks very cool, I think. Okay, and shorter hems. I wanted to show some examples with shorter hems because as with the other ideas that have a vertical line, I think like there is sometimes this idea that like yang dominant women in general shouldn't wear shorter things because it breaks their vertical line. So just like, I don't think this is really true. So I wanted to show some examples. So of course it's like these shorts as part of an outfit don't really like break the vertical line, but they actually create the vertical line because they are like very coherent with the body of the person wearing them. So she has a long, narrow vertical line, and so it's clear in this outfit that she has that. And we have lots of examples of our dramatic celebrities wearing shorts or short skirts. So I just wanted to show these as a bit of an inspo, as kind of just not necessarily that you have to like wear these outfits, but just to show you that when these celebrities are wearing these outfits, you still see the long, narrow verticality. It's not like the shorts or the short dress or something takes away from that image of this like long straight line. And matching sets, that's something that dramatics seem to be really into. I think that was like fun, just like something I noticed while I was looking at all these pictures of the dramatics. I think these are all really cute. And of course, our modern celebrities, Taylor Swift, she loves matching sets. A lot of really great inspo there, and so does Olivia Culpo. She's also doing quite a lot of these matching sets, sometimes, you know, showing the torso bit, but again, it's not, doesn't interrupt this long vertical line. And now I wanted to talk a bit about this like full and sweeping type looks. So because again, I think sometimes the idea is that dramatic women can't really wear like skirts unless they're like, you know, bodycon. But I think like it's fun with these really full skirts because the fabric is like full or stiff, so it creates these kind of like straight lines. So there's like lots of these gorgeous dresses with these kinds of fabrics that like falls in this straight line. I just think it looks really beautiful. And of course, for the fancy gowns, Olivia Culpo, she loves these types of gowns, and I think Taylor Swift has been like more interested in this look as well. Just think it's like, it looks very fun. I definitely have to have a lot of yang to pull this off. And of course, the figure hugging option is always there for the dramatic woman to emphasize her narrow length. And figure hugging doesn't mean that it's devoid of any decoration or that it has to be tight all around, but it just means these types of outfits that kind of draw your eye along the body. Again, Lena Horne shared this really great look with these gowns, but they all have these different embellishments, interesting patterns, and just showing you these examples to show that it's not like restrictive to her wearing like something that is just like a plain straight line with nothing else on it. And to this you can add belts, this like texturing, lace details, this like very cool like fur Lauren is wearing in the middle picture. So there's a lot of things that you can play with. And of course the minimal look I think is also very striking on the dramatics, and I think that's very in right now. Okay, and I wanted to talk a bit about, just like show you some pictures of these different dramatic icons to get some like inspiration for some different dramatic styles. So I think Olivia Culpo, I mean, she's obviously, she was like Miss Universe or something, so obviously she's an incredibly beautiful woman, but she also is very into just like contemporary kind of like street style type things. So if you want to just kind of see trendy styles I think she's like a good source to see how she matches her looks together and how she creates her ensembles. I think that's fun inspo. Taylor Swift, you know, she has this very funky like performer style. I think it just can be also really fun to see her street looks or her performance looks just for like fun inspiration. And I just want to reiterate again that I think like she's definitely not a comedian, because people really love to just keep commenting on my video and saying that she definitely is a comedian, and that's like, I guess you can't convince everybody, but just want to say that anyway. Michelle Dockery, I think she also has just like great looks, and again you can see it's like she has textures, different colors, there's like a pattern. It's not like she needs to just wear one color up and down, but she has quite a lot of variety, but it's all emphasizing her long narrow vertical line. And she also has a lot of these very casual outfits, again, if you just want to get some like inspo. Louise Brooks, I think she has amazing dramatic style, and I feel like it's like so much fun and it's so interesting and bold. And I think that also these looks, I felt like they were like shockingly current looking, like this thing, like this teddy coat on the left with this like crochet hat. I just think looks really adorable and just beautiful on her. Greta Garbo, she had a very like, it's very like mystical, I guess that's her like star image, but I think like it's just really cool to see all of these looks she works. And I think in general it's like fun to see these older dramatic style icons, because obviously in real life maybe most of the time you want to kind of do a Michelle Dockery kind of jeans and a top look, but I think like if the idea is to kind of cultivate your very own unique look, I think it's interesting to think like what are these striking, really interesting things that the dramatic women can get away with because of their very unique appearance. I think Joan Crawford, you know, is another just like amazing example with these, all of these just details. Just she has just, there were so many great outfits. Faye Dunaway, I think she has a bit of like, you know, a very like different flavor because she really had this like mod thing with the Bonnie and Clyde and her berets, and then she's doing this Gucci campaign. So I think it definitely like different, very different flavor. And of course Lauren Bacall, I mean, I think she's like a bit more like, I don't want to say professional, I guess more just like put together like elegant polished lady, but I think really great inspiration anyway. Okay, and next I just wanted to talk a bit about this like, I don't know, I just think it's like fun to see like like Kate Blanchett or like Tilda Swinton, Keira Knightley. I just think it's fun to realize that like for the dramatic actresses, they often tend to be cast in this, you know, great variety of roles that really require kind of a transformative wardrobe, and they really like, I don't know, I just think it highlights that these women have a very special, very like, you know, unique beauty, and obviously you're not going to dress up in like period clothing in your everyday life, but I think that it's very inspirational to think about how you can capture this very like unique and striking look in your everyday life. I usually spend some more time on comparisons, but I felt, I don't know, I just didn't feel like I have so much to say here. So if we compare dramatic to soft dramatic, I think that's something that trips people up because they can tell like, well, I definitely have this sharp bone structure. I definitely have a vertical, but you know, how much curve do I really have? Am I dramatic or am I soft dramatic? The dramatic women definitely look very feminine. They can even have fuller features, although in this case, definitely all three of these women have had, you know, plastic surgery, but still, you know, I guess like you can still have some sort of like softer features, but I think the key really for the soft dramatic is that she has this like significant yin undercurrent, and that's only something, if you're trying to identify your own ID, that's only something you can really tell about yourself, like how pronounced is the curviness of your body. Do you have like these yin features, for example, in your face? I don't know, all of these different parts that Kibbe describes as being potentially interesting. And the same thing about the dramatic versus the flamboyant natural. They're both pure yang, right, with no yin, but one of them is this sharp narrow and one of them is this wide blunt yang. So if we look at these very, very slender, flamboyant, natural celebrities, you can see that they also have a strong vertical, and yet you can say that they're like wider than the dramatic celebrities. But I mean, I think this is a lot more apparent when you, for example, like watch videos of them or something, you know, if you watch them in movies. So again, I think if you're trying to decide if you're a dramatic or flamboyant natural, it just has to do with whether, like, you know, you perceive yourself as being mostly like narrow, you know, in your general, like in the bone structure, like all over your body, whether you have any narrowness or whether you have a width. So that's all I have to say on the comparisons. Perhaps that's not very fulfilling. Anyway, what's notable to me about the dramatic woman is her long, narrow, very like delicate physicality, and she has a very strong energy. I would say kind of this hint of cool mystery and sophisticated reserve. But again, that is like expressed in many different ways because, you know, I think that's why I think Taylor Swift, she's such a fun dramatic example, because I definitely feel like she has this very powerful yang energy and this kind of bit of reserve, but she's also very much trying to market herself as like, you know, this accessible, kind of like your friendly type pop star. So I think it's a great way to see that there are many different ways that this essence can be expressed. So the dramatic woman, she has the striking, powerful, creative, and charismatic yang energy. I think she's a woman who leads through simply being, who commands attention, and who is in charge of her life. So thank you very much for watching, and let me know what you think.